Mr. Mel Gibson! MEGACON, he's here! Beautiful crowd, super excited to meet you. How has today been treating you at the show? Have you enjoyed yourself here at MEGACON, sir?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's like, it's kind of frenetic.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Right?
That's fast. Frenetic is it, so they're just moving around doing all the
You gotta
things.
talk twice as fast. You gotta do everything twice as quick.
Absolutely, absolutely. But we are so grateful and thankful that you're here. I've got a couple of things that I would love to chat with you about if you're open to it.
Sure.
First and foremost, I think this is kind of an impressive thing. You're a family man with 10 siblings, is that correct? You come from a big family.
Yeah, I got 10 brothers and sisters.
10 brothers and sisters. You know, I recently read that it's the middle child that is the most successful, right? And so, like, out of 11 kids, which number are you?
I am number 6.
Okay, see, so this math, it's like literally spot on. So it just kind of, it adds up kind of perfectly. I think that's great. Okay, it's just good to know that science is working. At only 12 years old, though, your family moved to Australia, and I guess your grandmother was originally from there. Is that right?
She was a contralto. She was an opera singer. She
Oh,
came over to
beautiful.
the United States and gave concerts and sang at the Met and places like that. So
Love it.
yeah, she was good.
I love that. So what was the biggest culture shock for you to move down under?
Fortunately, it wasn't that bad.
Okay, good.
But the nations are fairly similar, and well, they both speak English.
Yes, that does help. Absolutely.
But there were some adjustments to make, particularly at that age.
Right.
At 12, man, you're going through a lot of stuff.
Of course
Things
you
are
are.
happening. You're getting pit hairs, you know, you're stretching. You're like growing pains. And then, you know, security with who you are, you don't even know who you are. So it's an interesting time to switch cultures.
I can imagine. And we hear so much now about like the wildlife of Australia and how very exotic and sometimes scary it can be. As a young one, were you at all nervous about like the huntsman spiders just showing up in your bathroom? Did that ever happen to you?
Oh, I saw big spiders like as big as your hand.
Yes, you know.
That happened. But no, there's other spiders that are worse, but they're
What?
smaller. Yeah. And they, yeah, that's one of those things. Yeah, they lived around the North Shore in Sydney. They had a very narrow kind of stomping ground they used to hang out on.
Okay.
Very poisonous. They had 2 ways. Venom can kill you in 1 or 2 ways. It can coagulate your blood, and that will give you the clot.
Yep.
Or it'll stop your nervous system and your lungs will quit. And this thing used to do both things at the same time. And it could survive underwater. It used to sit on the bottom of the pool and survive on the bubbles on the hairs on its legs and stuff like that. It was vicious, and it'd go through the wash. And you know, and then when you'd stomp on one, because I put my pants on one day, and then it crawled into my yeah, and it was on my. Lucky it was the day of Oxford bag jeans, you know. It was back in the 70s, so I was able to grab a big swatch of material and squeeze the shit out of it. I was taking my pants off, and I could feel this thing tickling my leg. And it was one of those things, and I squished it pretty good, but it was only wounded.
Oh.
So it was like it was jumping around trying to bite me. They're very aggressive. Very aggressive.
Okay.
And there used to be 5 or 6 deaths a year with these things
Oh
until they found an antivenin, which was late in the game.
I can see my window of visiting Australia just closing, like as you're describing, like there's no way. There's no
They
way.
have some impressive snakes too.
See, okay, we were stuck on the spiders. I was already saying no, but now you want to bring the snakes? No, I'm gonna stick over here. It's cool. It's cool. Okay, so like Superman does for the U.S., I think Mad Max qualifies as a cultural icon for Australia. And your portrayal was an absolute game changer for your career, which is absolutely amazing. But the question is, which installment is your favorite?
I think the second installment was the best. It was just pure.
Yes.
It's just a chase.
I love it. Now, is that from your view as a fan, as an actor, or as a director?
All three, I think, but because I think you have to be a fan and an audience member. I think from an audience point of view, I thought it was the cleanest.
I do love that one.
Yeah, and it had some really for its time, some excellent thrills and spills.
Oh my gosh, it still holds. Like, still holds to this
It
day.
does, and no special effects. They were throwing stuff under the truck.
Love that.
Yeah.
George Miller, Peter Weir, and I'd say Richard Donner are probably some of the most influential filmmakers to your career. But if you could add one more to like the Mount Rushmore of directors that influenced you, who would it be?
Oh my God. I used to, when I was growing up, I watched a film, and it was a film version of Macbeth.
Oh, okay, yes.
And I was like 17, and I went to the cinema and go, oh, Shakespeare, and then I watched this film, and I was just glued to it.
Locked.
And it was Roman Polanski who directed it.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I want to work with Roman.
I mean, fair.
Mind you, I'm not 13.
Good night, everybody. But a bonus.
But that was a masterful job.
Of course,
and
of
there's
course.
no denying he's
Right.
a great director, like Chinatown and stuff like that.
It is absolutely great.
So, guys of that ilk, I didn't work with. Guys like Sidney Lumet, that we were
Oh,
watching that
gosh, yes.
Some of the films he made were amazing.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. True film, like, you had to be a fan of film to understand what they're doing. This is so great. Yes.
And I just remember catching an old black and white movie on TV one time, and I started watching it, and I thought I got sucked into it, and it was long.
I love it.
And it was Sean Connery was in it, but he wasn't being James Bond.
Okay.
He was doing something. He was this military guy in his prison, and it was this film called The Hill. Did you ever see that film?
Okay, so, wait, now I have to ask, was it called The Hill in another country? Because we have a film with Sean where he's in prison called The Rock, but not The Hill.
No, this was The Hill.
Okay, all right.
He was way younger. This was like
that's awesome.
This was like in the late 60s.
I have not seen it. Okay, wait, has anyone else seen this movie, The Hill? Yeah. You've seen it? Okay, so I'm coming to your house. We're going to watch this later on.
That's like Sidney Lumet, right? And then he did stuff like Serpico and Dog Day After.
Yes.
And like great movies from the 70s, He was amazing, very prolific. I loved it, but I never got to work with him, So,
Well, and somewhere in the multiverse, there is a version of you that's got to do that. So we're just going to look at it.
Sure.
Yes. In the brilliant action thriller Conspiracy Theory, you cannot help but feel for Jerry in all of his compulsive antics, especially his need to buy copies of Catcher in the Rye. Have you ever read Catcher in the Rye?
I did. Yeah, I read it in high school. Didn't everyone?
I mean, we were all
It's great,
supposed to.
right?
We were supposed to, yes.
You did.
I did. So what had happened was,
I thought it was great.
I got out of that assignment. It was so bad. It was so bad. But how relevant do you think its message is today?
The book?
Yes. The book.
Oh, I think it's a wonderful message. It's about this kid that's having a nervous breakdown.
Yes.
And he's really lovable. It's the way he expresses himself.
Of course.
His observations on life. And I think he's like 15 or something. I can't remember how old that is. 16.
About 15%.
Old and coffee. That was
Yes.
his name, right? And he's going through this terrible time. And it's just kind of heartrending. And at the same time, it's kind of funny because these descriptions of stuff, of like watching this kid that can't stand picking his pimples and eating a sandwich and making him sick.
We all know that kid, don't we?
Or some of his teachers with like the old guy with the white hairs and a bumpy chest and all this kind of, it's like, it's very good. I mean, Salinger, was that the name of
Yeah,
the
Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Brilliant writer. And he took you on this little journey that was pretty funny and at the end perfect.
Absolutely.
And I really loved it.
Love it. I've actually always kind of been scared to buy a copy of that book because of Conspiracy Theory. So it's your fault. Thank you. I will read it now.
You gotta read it.
As a storyteller, though, how do movies with war as a backdrop, like Gallipoli or The Patriot, When We Were Soldiers, why do they make great vehicles to tell stories about the people in the battles and not just about the battles themselves?
Yeah, I mean, if you take ordinary men like you, me, everybody, and you put them in extraordinary situations, and then you witness how they react, and people will react in different ways. There are certain people who react in exemplary fashion that you want to emulate, and they inspire you. And these are the stories that lift us. And I think, so that's a perfect backdrop for people with, like, serious conflict.
Absolutely.
I mean, someone's trying to kill you.
Right.
And that's and you know, of course, I love war films. Like Braveheart was a war
Come
film.
on, he said it. He said it. He said it. I feel like Braveheart is like our special word of the day. Like that's yes.
But
Apocalypto was another great.
yeah,
You don't have to just yell out his filmography. Come on. Come on. You're not wrong, but I'm just saying.
I don't remember any of those.
No, I mean, but like seriously, a movie like Braveheart, you put William Wallace into the consciousness of a lot of people, and we wouldn't have known who he was or what he stood for, and it was super important.
He was kind of a footnote in history,
Right.
But he was real. He was a revolutionary,
Absolutely.
and you know, he was striving to do. He almost pulled it off too. Oh my God!
So very close.
He almost did it, but you know, hey, things happen.
History is the way that things goes.
It's like Tecumseh, you know.
Exactly. He was like right there.
Yeah.
Like, just missed it.
Just missed it.
Just missed it. Brett Maverick has a number of uncanny skills.
Yes.
He's a quick shot.
Yes.
Charismatic. And clever as all get out. But his most amazing talent is his belief that he can conjure a playing card just by thinking about it. Have you actually ever tried to do that in a game?
Yeah. It doesn't work like that.
You didn't know?
I remember I heard this voice one time that said, "Take all your savings out of the bank, go to Vegas." I thought, I said, "Who's this? You do as I say."
You're the only one.
Okay, right. So I took all my money, I quit my job, I went to Vegas, I put it all on the table. He said, "Put it all on 29 black." And I said, "No, this is a lot of money." He said, "Do as I say." And I said, okay. "Do you think I would lead you here without a good reason? Put all your money on 29 black." And I did it. And then the wheels spun,
Right.
and the ball, ting, 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 tong, ting, tong, tong, tong. And it was 3 red. And the voice went, fuck.
And that's the plot of the upcoming movie, The Passion of the Chips. Did that really happen? Did you really bet it all like that? Oh man! See how good of an actor he is? I believed him. I was locked in. Oh man. Okay. All right.
I gambled once young, and I lost a lot of money.
Yes.
In the Philippines, and I walked out onto the street, and there were people in the alley with no legs and like begging for money and
Right.
stuff, and I didn't have anything to give them. I felt like a real chump. And I said, "I'm never going to gamble like that again." I would have done better to walk down the street and
Just
just
get
gamble.
away.
But I didn't do that. I lost it in gambling, so I never gamble big anymore.
That's a brilliant.
I might do like $500.
Yeah. No, make some noise for that, y'all. No, that's.
Oh, a hamster.
Come on, Hamlet is that's life. Hamlet is life. You made your directorial debut on The Man Without a Face. Yes. A beautiful examination of the opportunities we allow our relationships to build. Was it difficult to build such a poignant narrative while balancing the duties of directing and acting?
Yeah, that was the toe in the water for me. I didn't know a lot. I realized how much I didn't know.
Okay.
And it was, wow, what a wake-up call. I fortunately had like this old drill sergeant kind of director of photography who kind of had been through the motions a bunch of times, and he could see I was like, and he would sort of make suggestions like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then, so he kind of was teaching me about some stuff and that I hadn't considered. Because once you're in the breach like that, okay, I had some of them, but not all of them.
Right.
And he was able to help me with the language of film and lenses
Yes.
and transitions.
That's nice.
Which
That's
are
nice.
really good. Transitions are very
It's
important.
very important.
And after that, I kind of like, okay, I dig the transitions.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, I mean, to be fair, as a good director, you defer to someone who knew something that you didn't. So I think that also is kind of the benchmark of why you have become also a great director as well as actor. So you already were building, that skill set of I can listen to direction, which means you can give direction.
no, absolutely, you have to absorb stuff and listen. And I was always asking the Peter Weir's, the George Millers, the Richard Dunn, always asking questions. I wasn't the kind, well, they didn't have trailers
Right.
for actors that you could go back to and hang out in. It was a different kind of business there. So they used to hang around the set and go, "Well, what's that?" someone would tell you so you learn all the lenses and the tools.
Absolutely.
That it took. Everything stops, light, everything. So it's pretty interesting.
I love the hands-on learning. I think that's one of the things that, as anyone that's a creative, it's easy to kind of go, well, I guess I got to go to school in order to learn. But sometimes doing it is the more powerful teacher than anything. So,
Oh yeah. Especially if you fail.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do we have any aspiring filmmakers or actors in the room? Okay, I heard the word.
Everybody.
Do it.
Just do it. Just go out there and get your hands on it.
As much as I love when you play the hero, and I do, you're wonderfully diabolical as a bad guy. We'll put that in quotations. What's been your favorite character? What was that? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. What's been your favorite character to play whose moral compass might be a little loose?
Okay. Moral compass loose. They're all kind of loose.
I mean, just a little, but I mean, like, so payback. I mean, there was a very strong standing, like, you are owed $70,000. Like, that's just what it is.
Well, he was a career criminal. He's kind of mildly sociopathic.
A little.
Yeah.
And he was a good dude. Like,
yeah. I mean, he's stealing money off beggars on the street in the first reel and stuff.
well, I mean, he was just trying to get back on his feet. Like, listen, if he was going to see that guy again, he was going to give him his money back. I believe in that. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But, like, do you have a favorite, like, bad guy character that you played?
I think it was that guy because he was so, you kind of, the challenge with him was to make you kind of the hero of the film, but to be kind of morally reprehensible in some ways. I mean, just and unyielding.
Yes, yes.
So, I don't know, it was kind of, and it was, I wrote the script with a guy called Brian Hilton, so it was
Makes some noise for Brian, surely.
yeah, it was a combo of like finding that kind of fine line of humor and at the same time kind of off. Like he just shot that guy in the face.
I mean, he did. That dude deserved it. Okay, but let's be honest. We didn't like him anyway.
Yeah, he was a bad guy.
He was a worse bad guy.
Sure.
He was awful.
Sure. The best of the bad guys. Yeah.
Getting to work with some stellar actors now, like Lucy Liu or Maria Bella, like, what was it like on set? Was the vibe just that much fun? Did you guys kind of like commingle in order to kind of like create that vibe, or did you kind of separate?
No, because it was a real team. Everybody was like playing Scrabble and poker and stuff like that. You know? So it was there was a lot of competition behind the scenes. We got to know each other that way. We were pretty friendly. You know?
I love it.
Yeah. I saw Maria like a month ago in an airport.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, and she hasn't changed.
Of course not.
She didn't get any older.
Yes.
It's like weird. I'm like, look at me, a little white beard, and she's like, still looks exactly the same. I was kind of blown away by it.
You're saying she's forever young?
Something like that. Yes.
You're welcome. Fathers Under Pressure. From Ransom to The Patriot to Signs and so many more, you've played some dads who are facing an incredible crisis, but still put the love of their children above everything. Can you share a fun story of you being a dad?
Me being a dad. Oh boy. Well, I remember what the doctors got me, and they said, we want you to take these statins. You know, anyone on statins?
We gotta go hands,
Yes, everyone's on statins. You hit 50 and they want to shove you on statins. So I sort of said, what's statins? And he said, well, it's just with the plaque and the arteries. And I'm like, So I look it up and it's like side effects, right? The downside of statins, impotence, Alzheimer's, your joints falling apart, all this sort of stuff. I said to the doctor, I'm not doing that. And he said, well, you have to do it. I said, no, I don't. Why would I do that? Why would anybody do this? I'd rather die. And he said, well, you've got kids. You've got grandkids. So I said, fuck them.
You know how they got here? I still like that part.
My arteries were torn. No, I didn't really say that.
He had it.
That's a good kid.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. Now, I did read that Sean Connery once recommended that you would be a great James Bond, but that you shied away from the consideration of it. Do you still think that that was the right move, or in some alternate universe, do you wish that you had tried it?
Of course, you go back and you think, man, I wish I'd done that.
Right?
It's like, Ridley came in with Gladiator. I didn't do that either.
What?
Oh, yeah. All these things. But I was doing the Patriot, so I couldn't do the Gladiator. So Russell got it. Okay, all right. That's good. You did a great job. So it's kind of interesting the things you miss. And you go, wow, man, we want you to be James Bond. I said, you know, you're sure, you know. I could probably do it. But then I thought to myself, hang on, I'm 26 years old, and I just remember that Sean could never escape that character.
It's always James Bond.
He finally did.
Yes.
You know,
way too long.
About 10 years after that,
Exactly.
finally he did that Untouchables movie.
Right.
It was fantastic. So he escaped that prison that he was in for many years, for decades. So I thought, I'm not going to do that. And I let it go. So it was like, because I thought, I'll do some other stuff.
Right. And I mean, you already have iconic characters under your belt of your very own. You got Mad Max, so that's fair. That's fair. I think that's a good trick. Okay, so one of the things that I got to get in here is literally you've got an unmistakable voice, and you've used it a few times to bring some incredible animated characters to life. What's been your favorite voiceover role, and why is it absolutely chicken run?
Yeah, that was it. And it's like, it was great, you know, I just enjoyed that. I enjoyed that character. Yeah, that kind of, you know, kind of chicken voice, you know. And I like the script. And I think those guys, those Aardman guys, are so clever with that, whatever it is they're doing.
Claymation style, motion
Is it
style.
claymation? I don't know what it is, but it's amazing stuff. Really intricate. When I saw the first Wallace and Gromit things, I was like, whoa.
Yes, because it captures the imagination. It is absolutely great.
It's fantastic.
Yes. We've got some fan questions that have been submitted, so I want to read some of these. So Dominic R. from Tampa asks, you've played so many tough and intense characters. What's the most physically demanding role you've ever taken on?
Physically, I think it was on Braveheart. It was like, because I was in front of the camera and behind the camera, and you have to get up before everybody, and it was just, the makeup and the thing with them, and just all the logistics, and then the physicality of the part itself, you know, like the horses, all kinds of stuff. I had one day, we had this push-button horse, and it was the horse head. He said, well, if you pull back on the reins and then you dig your heels in, you'll rear up and this kind of stuff. And I thought, okay, so so I was doing this thing with the horse, and then the guy comes and stabs him with the spear in the chest, and I do the whole thing with the horse, raised up, right? And I actually, the horse kept going.
What?
Yeah, and it's in the film because I fall off. Because I fall off the damn horse, right? But they didn't cut to the next part, because the next part was the horse, the 2,000-pound horse, was coming right down on me.
No!
Really, I could see this, and I'm like, I'm dead. And my stunt double, this guy called Mickey Rogers, I don't know where he came from, but his arms come into the shot, all of a sudden he's like, he yanked me out from under this horse, which hit the ground with such force I would have been dead.
Oh my!
So stuff like that happens, and it's like,
That's wonderful, great, scary, and amazing. Make some noise for Mickey, y'all. Like for
this guy's amazing. He pulled off another stunt that only one other guy did and got away with. And the stuntman that did it was an old timer called Giacomo Canut, who was in a film called Stagecoach with John Wayne. And Giacomo Canut did the thing where he jumped from the stage on 3 different sets of horses. And he pulled the horses up and he survived. Everybody else that tried that stunt,
don't do that.
they got trampled, they got killed. Even Terry Leonard sort of went under the axles. It was a mess, you know. So it was like Mickey did it, and Mickey did it pretty well, and he did it, and everyone's like, "Whoa, he's the only guy since Giacomo Canut to do that." And he did it, and then the director said, we didn't quite. You have to do it again. I'm like, no, don't do it again. Don't do it again. And so Mickey gets it. He says, yeah, I'll do it again, because he's Mickey, you know. Oh yeah. So he gets on there and he does it again, and this time the horses start to go down.
That's not okay.
And it's not okay. And their noses are in the dirt. And he's like, I could see him, and he grabs the collars and he yanks, and he almost yanked, he did what he did to me, right? He yanked the horses. It was just enough for these horses to get their feet under them again.
Right.
And that's the tape that's in the film.
Oh my God.
Make
some noise again. The horse flipping
like, I was proud of him when he did that, because that was a near crash, and it was real exciting because it looked like he was going down.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay. So being on a film set is dangerous. Gotcha. Isabella M. from Orlando wants to know if you could drop one of your past characters into a completely different genre, like turning Braveheart into a sci-fi epic, who would it be and why?
Okay,
Let's go.
What do I have to figure out the sci-fi?
Okay, so listen, you'll pick a character that you've played, and then we'll pick a different genre than what they are known for.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. You take that guy from What Women Want, and
Let's
you
go.
put him in Braveheart.
Where are you putting him?
Put him in Braveheart.
Wait, Marshall in Braveheart?
Yeah,
I don't feel like niggas
He
would make it.
He wouldn't do too well.
He's over there putting lipstick on in front of the king. He's like,
Right. Yeah. He'd like the dress though. He'd like the.
He's out there with a hair dryer, and he's like,
Yeah.
I would watch that movie. I'm so guilty of it. And so Trevor S. from Miami asks, you directed some epic battle scenes. If you had to choose, would you rather direct a medieval war film, a futuristic space battle, or a pirate adventure?
Yeah. I just written with this guy, being this guy, and wrote a thing about the pirates, about what it's kind of like a pirate thing. But I think the sort of medieval warfare is more up my street.
You've got a signature on that one, but I mean, I get if you want to spread out a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm going in for sea battles now.
Ooh.
Because and it's for television, but we'll see how it goes.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's a thing called Siege, and it's about the Knights of St. John on Malta.
Right.
And there were 700 of them, and the Turks, 40,000 Turks came in their ships and tried to do them, and the Knights won the day.
That's right.
But they had the Maltese as well.
See, that's good stories. Again, when you're dipping into history, and there's such rich storytelling within that. There's so much that you can play with. I hope this comes out.
Oh no, crazy story. I mean, they were under siege for a long time. It was stuff it was the most brutal thing ever.
Oh my gosh.
It was like what they would do to one another from both sides. I mean, it got pretty ugly. For about 8 months, it was like.
That's the darkness of war. Every time. Elena K. from St. Petersburg says, you've worked with so many legendary actors. Who's someone you still dream of collaborating with?
I think I got on pretty well with everybody.
I think you absolutely have. I mean, but is there anyone that's maybe an up-and-comer that you're like, you know what, I see something, and I would like to do something with that?
There's so many young, talented people now, and some of these guys are really good too.
Of course.
They do. I mean, they're so gifted.
Mm-hmm.
Even I think it's another level of like the kind of stuff that we were doing.
Of course.
It's just another level.
Well, they got to learn from watching you do it, though. So you're part of what makes them great. I guess they saw you.
Yeah, but they took it a step further. I mean, there's legions of these guys now. Some of them really good. And I know, he can be kind of a tricky customer. But I love this kid Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, yes.
But there's something so truthful about what he does.
I love it.
And he gets into it.
It's a good one. No, I would love to see you pair with Shia. I would watch that movie religiously. Javier T. from Fort Lauderdale asks, what's the strangest or funniest thing that has ever happened to you on a film set? Not a fake horse almost killing you.
Oh man, there's a million things. I have to, think about that.
I get that.
Because it's like, there have been some really weird things happening.
Were you ever a prankster on set? Were you ever? Okay, all right. Was there ever a particular prank that you pulled that was especially juicy and good?
There was a great one. Pardon?
Lethal Weapon, there was one?
They were fun. But that Donner was the worst prankster.
What?
The director was the worst prankster.
No, I dig Donner.
He was.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
He would set you up. He would set you up. And, pranks. I can't even mention some of them.
I get that. No. expectations aren't up yet. I get that.
I can't physically. I know I can't even talk about this one. It was so good though. It was my best prank ever. But I get into serious trouble.
Okay, that's fair. We won't get into it. I am going to go back and I'm going to ask this though. Could Martin Riggs, since we're talking about Lethal Weapon, could Martin Riggs ever be as fun of a character to play without the balancing act of Roger Murtaugh?
No, not nearly as funny because Roger was kind of, I mean, you had to have that to sort of balance off. And Danny had this wonderful kind of, almost like Donner used to say, look at him, he's like Jack Benny. Because he used to stand there and just kind of do this, like, he was always did this thing where he was playing it like he was a beat behind.
Right.
It was like so funny.
It was perfectly timed for how he would present any sort of fun moment.
Yeah, because I would sort of play on that and try and like confuse him. And then we got Joe Pesci, who was more of a mouse on oxygen.
Love.
And Pesci was like,
Immediately it gets like amazing, absolutely amazing.
I mean, he used to come up with his own routines.
You know, like on set?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think that, you know, they'll.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's.
He just made that up.
I think so.
That is insane. You know what? I think one of the things that makes Lethal Weapon so great is the pairing of you and Danny Glover. And ladies and gentlemen, we have Danny Glover joining us right now. Get on your feet, MEGACON! Ladies and gentlemen, the great Danny Glover. Oh my goodness, sir, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get some great pictures right now with these two guys.
I was trying to find my way out of the building. I met somebody named Mel Gibson. I said, well, let me get a chance for me to say hello to him. Listen, but it seems he's doing well here.
He's doing all right. He's doing all right. But we're so glad that you came to join us. Thank you for coming to say hello. We thoroughly appreciate you coming out to see all of us today. One more time, Mr. Danny Glover. Thank you all so very much. Oh my God. Listen, I hate to end it on that because I want to just keep going, but unfortunately we have hit our time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so very much for joining us.